And welcome back to coverage here of Pro Tour Phyrexia. Marshall Sutcliffe with Paul Cheon. We are drafting early in the morning here on day number 2. We just finished watching Gabriel Nassif draft his green-red deck, and he's going to now sit down to play against Michael Go, who has actually a similar, it's a deck that kind of reminds me of it, where it's heavy into one color with just a few cards of the other. Let's take a look at the head-to-head here and see how these two stack up. Well, let's just say there is a significant experience advantage at this level on Gabriel Nassif's side. 15 top finishes. This is going to be Michael's first run at a top finish here, and we'll see if he can put together a run. He's had an absolutely incredible day one. Here's Gabriel Nassif's final deck. We just saw it before the break, but just to refresh your memory, heavy red, nearly mono red, but he's got a few key green cards. You know, I keep looking at the evolving adaptive over there as being one that if he can get that on turn 1, that could be a total game changer for him. Only gripe about Nassif's deck is that lack of 2-drops, but he's worked around it the best he could and given his seat, and he's got a compact aggressive deck. Now on the other side of the table, I mentioned it, heavy into one color. In this case, it happens to be black with just a little bit of red. He was sitting near Nassif at the table, so the red wasn't exactly flowing for him. But he's got kind of an interesting build here, Paul. It looks like if you took away the red cards, it would be mono black toxic.
Yeah, it's mono black toxic, a little more on the controlling side here. As you can see, only 12 creatures in the deck, but splashing red for basically a Chimney Rabble and some removal spells here. Rebel Salvo, likely one of his first picks here. But yeah, Michael's just looking to play the Siphoner and the Bilious Skull Dweller early, get some toxic counters onto the opponent, and beat people down with the Bone Picker Scourge. I'm not necessarily envisioning a toxic kill here from Michael, but hey, you get some poison counters on your opponent, then all of a sudden you get to turn on your Bone Picker Scourges, and then they become 3-mana 2/2 flying Death Touch lifelink.
Yeah, and also look, I mean, he's got Whisper of the Dross, Drowning Ichor, Infectious Inquiry, 2 Vraska's Falls.
Okay.
Like, he can get some counters flowing if he can, you know, if a Siphoner gets to kind of do its thing. To me, the weakness of the deck are the Bone Picker Scourges, because they don't help either game plan particularly, but it does look like he can get corrupted pretty easily. And Bone Picker Scourge against green-red is very strong. They have to use a removal spell or it trades for any of their...
And Nassif doesn't have a ton of removal in his deck. He's got a Hex Gold Slash, right? And a Volt Charge. But one card, though, that Michael is playing... I mean, he has several cards, but Vraska's Fall, I'm not a big fan of that card. It is okay at putting poison counters, but there's so many cards in the format that produce tokens where the card just becomes irrelevant extremely quick. We talk about one of the best white commons in the set being Crawling Chorus, Basilica Shepherd, Charge of the Mites, Stinging Hive Master. All of those cards are things you can just sack and still leave something behind when your opponent casts that inquiry.
Not the strongest. You really want to hope that that the counter matters, the poison counter. But I will say, against green-red, it's kind of okay.
It's fine.
Like
yes, in the green-red deck, it's okay.
The rabble
well,
is the problem.
But yeah, we say that, and then we're like, wait a second, Nassif has 3 Chimney Rebels.
Yeah, so you want to fire it off ASAP is kind of the deal. But really good start here with Bilious Skull Dweller from Michael. This is a very difficult card for a red-green to handle. It will often trade off for something much bigger, and it also has the ability to chip in and get the toxic thing going. So it looks like that'll happen here. And Nassif's going to take it, so there is 1/3 of Corrupted or 1/10 of Death from Michael's perspective. Does he have a 2 to follow up? He does. It's a Blightbelly Rat. He can pass the turn back. Nassif hasn't done anything yet. Nassif, what do you got? You keep a Thrill opener?
That's an ideal start here for Michael. Now, if you're Nassif, I mean, I think you just have to fire off this...
What, does he have a Slash? Or oh, he's going to go
He does
Thrill.
have a Thrill, okay.
He's going to be mana efficient here, but I hear what you're saying. He's going to need to use that Slash.
It's so punishing, though, if you don't use the Slash next turn and just hope to play a creature to get in the way. If Michael has a removal spell, boom, all of a sudden you're corrupted.
Yes, and that can get ugly real quick. You do see Hazardous Blast in hand here for Nassif, so he's definitely trying to maybe bait out one more 1-toughness creature to nab with it.
Yeah, and this is one of those formats where oftentimes in other formats, it's you want to save kind of your removal spells, right? And try to pick off the most important threat, maybe a bigger card down the line. But here it's, do you really want to turn on what your opponent's trying to do?
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, he's not going to have much of a choice anyway, right? Like if Michael actually wants to get Nassif corrupted, he can, right?
Yeah.
He can just like let the Blight Belly Rat die, and as long as one or the other gets through, corrupted will happen. As it stands, Nassif is going to keep his options open. He's going to play Rustvine Cultivator, but leave up the 2 mana, primarily the one for the Hex Gold Slash here. He also does have Blazing Crescendo, and he may feel that he's in a position where he
that
wants
is
to use it
dicey
defensively.
with 3 mana.
It is, but he could have played Furnace Skull Bomb here and still left up Hex Gold Slash, so he's clearly keeping it as an option at least.
He is keeping it as an option if Michael maybe taps out and then attacks. But given this attack, I think it's just Hex Gold Slash or just take it.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Also interesting to see this the Skull Dweller not attack. Oh, he is going for it.
Go for it here.
Hey, we had the read.
Okay. And if you don't want to give Nassif that extra card here, you might be incentivized to use that removal spell. And this is going to be a Volt Charge here from Michael, killing the Cultivator. You don't get the card from the Crescendo, and you still get a poison counter. So that's a 2-for-1.
That is a disaster for Nassif. Now, he knew the risk he was taking, but that is rough that Michael had the instant speed removal at the ready there.
But you have to think, not only does he have the Volt Charge, he's got multiple copies of Vraska's Inquiry as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me, Vraska's Fall, right? So lots
He's
of different...
got 1 Inquiry and 2 Fall, yeah.
So lots of cards that Michael could have had in that instance.
By the way, Paul, Nassif took off the Band-Aid. His draft injury is healing.
It makes it harder to shuffle.
Definitely.
Needs to take it off.
All right, he plays Furnace Punisher here, which is a 3/3 with Menace, and it is his kind of hope of stabilization at this point. We also note that he missed his land drop for the turn.
Yeah, and imagine if you're Michael, if you don't have a removal spell, just get in with the Skull Dweller.
Wow, Vraska's Fall.
Don't think that was in his hand last turn.
That is really nice draw here from Michael, because now he gets to pile on 3 more poison, and it is going up very quickly here. Nassif's already up to, what, 5?
Yeah, because, and I'm still kind of going back to that Hex Gold Slash, where could have fired that off at any point before, and now you're at 5 poison.
And no board right now with 2 toxic creatures. I mean, this is, like we talked about on the intro, effectively a mono-black poison deck. All right, is he going to crack this? Oh, he's got to crack it right away to try to hit his land drop. He does have the Hex Gold Slash. Boy, he missed. He hits his land drop, but he drew.
Going to kill the red, as he does have the Hazardous Blast to kill the Skull Dweller next turn.
Right.
If that becomes a problem.
That's 1 more poison. He's up
now
to
he's at 6
now.
7
tick-tock.
Well, now we're at the point. I mean, Michael does. We were talking about how he has a more controlling version of the red-black poison deck. He's got a lot of spells that give you poison counters.
How about
and that is problematic.
With the Head Cleaver here. Sheoldred's Head Cleaver comes down, and now a single creature from Nassif will not stabilize the board, and if he wants to try to kill the Skull Dweller, he's going to have to tap out and just take 2 poison to the dome, which puts him real close to
death. I mean, based on what we saw before, I think his only play is cast Hazardous Blast.
And that's not going to do it.
Get Skull Dweller off the battlefield and then go to 9 poison next turn?
And then anything that proliferates, any creature hits with toxic, anything that adds a poison counter would be lethal. And let's also not forget, Michael Go is at 20. Like, he hasn't even been attacked yet this game, so he's got infinite time to figure it out.
Right. So Nassif just recognized, well, you know, I don't want to take 10 poison. Do this, and if you're on Michael's side, if you have any toxic creature, that's probably what you want to be doing here.
Yeah, he does have Chimney Rabble in hand, which looks kind of funny.
Right, but it's definitely better here to just play another toxic creature, because now Nassif has to answer a Menace toxic threat and another creature.
He needed to have 3 blockers from 0, or kill a 4 toughness creature and have a blocker. That is not going to happen. Game number 1 goes to Michael Go. He poisons out Nassif, gets him to 10 in short order. Let's see if he can do it again. We saw some mana stumbles there from Nassif, and it just felt like he never really got his game plan underway.
Yeah.
It also kind of fell apart when he went for that
the combat trick.
Crescendo.
Yeah.
Okay, here's Rustvine Cultivator, though, to start things off. For Nassif, just a swamp, and we see no Bilious Skull Dweller this time for Michael. That was critical for him last game.
Yeah, definitely.
Nassif's going to play a Furnace Skull Bomb here. He can activate his Rustvine Cultivator and try to set up a Chimney Rabble for next turn.
Yep.
Okay, he's got a Gladiator here, but that isn't really the type of card that Nassif's going to care about. Fleshless Gladiators, it's not even very good.
It's a curve filler.
Yeah.
It's a 2-drop.
Curve
right?
filler is a nice way to say it. Yeah.
I mean, Nassif would probably play, if this was just one red 2/2, he would play a few copies of that in his deck.
Curve filler.
Curve filler. Gotta fill that curve.
If you had to pick one person on the coverage team that you would describe as a curve filler,
No comment, Marshall. No comment. I'll just say myself, so I
what
don't
a
get in
hero.
trouble.
What a
Yeah.
hero. All right, land number 3 now for Nassif, but as you see, the Rustvine Cultivator did pick up an oil counter on it, so he can use it to ramp out a Chimney Rabble. This is, look, it might not be the right word, but this is the dream, right, for Nassif's deck. Like, this is kind of the best thing that he does. He curves out to 4, and if he gets it on turn 3, well, all the better.
Yeah, great start here for Nassif this time around. Now with that Chimney Rebel too, has some protection against
I just
Nebraska's
realized
fall.
you might have been being nice to me. What if I'm the curve filler? Oh my God.
I just had no comment,
Oh
Marshall.
my God. Now
We'll
I
just
have to.
keep it there.
Now I'm going to think about this.
Yeah. Oh.
All right. Stinging Hive Master is going to hit the battlefield here for Michael. And that can at least trade off with the Chimney Rabble
Yeah.
because the tables are very much turned.
But-
we
but,
see Gabriel Nassif as the aggressor this time.
Nassif does have the Blazing Crescendo, and now when you're on the aggressive side of things, this card becomes much, much stronger, right? Because now Nassif can go, well, now I can just beat you down.
Right. This is so much easier when Michael's
Being on
tapped
the
out.
play is so nice. Yeah.
And he doesn't have any mana available, and you know exactly what you have available for yourself. Like, maybe the only mistake Nassif made was not winning the die roll. Although I will say that Bilious Skull Dweller on turn 1 for Michael, that is a game changer, right?
Yeah,
like that
absolutely.
could trade off for a 4-drop. That's the thing that got the ball rolling with Toxic, and it's the type of thing that he doesn't have here, and we can see that how differently this game's playing out. And being tapped out and with all that mana available there for Nassif, Michael's just going to take another hit, not trade off.
Oh, nice draw here from
Hive
Nassif.
Master.
Lattice Blade Mantis. So yeah, really, really great offensive start here.
Perfect. And, you know, with that Furnace Skull Bomb, if he kind of runs out of stuff, that Mantis could be 5/4, you know,
Yeah.
pseudo vigilance for the rest of the game effectively.
Yeah, I mean, one thing that I've noticed also when you're playing this red-green strategy against decks that are trying to put poison counters onto you is oftentimes your creatures are going to be bigger than what your opponents are trying to do, right? And if you're on the play, you can just outrace them in a lot of situations while having your creature just be so much bigger so they can't even attack you back.
That's right. Looks like Michael feels the need to get the ball rolling on this Toxic thing. So he's going to attack with Stinging Hive Master, and this is going to prompt a potential double block here from Nassif.
I mean,
After game 1, he's probably like, I would much prefer not. You know, and the other
Just
thing,
take it.
he does take
Yeah.
it, but it does get interesting here because, you know, I think that Michael is going to try to set up Bone Picker Scourges, right? Because that's a way that he can, if he gets corrupted, you know, he can have things that can block, keep his life total
Right.
up, or if he can start chipping away with them,
Oh.
he can swing this back.
Nassif almost forgot to put an oil counter on that cultivator. Caught himself.
These streamers, you know,
I know.
just
It's
they're just on
not
arena all
automated,
day.
right? Yeah.
He got there though.
So still have nice attacking options here with the Rabble and the Mantis, especially with the Crescendo in hand.
Yeah, that Crescendo is really kind of a big deal here. The downside, I don't know if I could call it a downside, but Nassif, he's probably anticipating a potential double block on the Lattice Blade Mantis here, right, with 3/2 and the 2/2, and the Crescendo doesn't quite get it big enough, right? It'll get it to 5 toughness, which is
Yeah.
Not
But
good.
I mean, I think you're okay just getting those two creatures off the battlefield. I
maybe
don't-
even better than okay.
Right. And
Yeah.
I don't think Michael's going to be in a situation where he's going to be returning that Gladiator into play anytime soon
No.
with Toxic, right?
Right, that's a problem. This is the ideal scenario, by the way, for Nassif, because he did use the Lattice Blade Mantis, but he also gets to use a
Yeah.
Crescendo.
One note, though, is Michael Go does have Whisper of the Dross, so he will be able to finish off this Chimney Rabble, right? As it will have 4 toughness. It's going to take 3 here from the Hive Master.
And he'll still lose the Hive Master either way.
He will,
Yeah.
but he will, instead of just straight up losing to this combat trick, you can at least get the Rabble off the battlefield.
Yeah, that does seem huge. He's taking a lot of damage, 5, and he will be at 2 poison, so almost corrupted.
Right.
But that's so much better than the alternative.
Yeah, and that can turn on some Bone Picker Scourges if you have those. Ooh, a nice little 2-drop to play here off the Crescendo.
And Michael mentioned he gets a Might out of the deal thanks to the Hive Master dying.
Barbed Batter Fist. Likely the card that Nassif wants to play. Oh, can't play it until the next turn, so choosing to just play the bigger threat here in the Centurion.
The 4-chamber Centurion, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so here comes the Whisper of the Dross to finish off the Rabble and put Nassif 1 away from being corrupted. What is the plan for Michael here, though? Even if he can get him corrupted, he's so far behind on board.
Yeah, I mean, he's got the Bone Picker Scourge. If he gets him corrupted, he can play that. That'll allow him to cleanly trade with the Lattice Blade Mantis.
That's a start.
And another late oil counter here from Nassif. Huh. I suppose Michael should have responded to the Centurion by casting Whispers on the Chimney Rabble so that a counter can't go on the Centurion, right?
Michael's surveying the scene here, and I don't think he likes what he sees particularly.
Yeah, tough
so
situation to
there's
be
the
in.
Bone Picker Scourge we were talking about. He actually has 3 of those in his list. It can do work, but he's 1 away.
Yeah, needs to be corrupted.
And then it's okay. You know, it'll trade for the Mantis. You know, you can actually make it work. But right now, he just doesn't have a way through.
Yeah. Now is the time where you might see a double block here on the Mantis. Michael is down to 9, right?
Oh, he's 1 turn away from pure desperation, and I think that puts him in desperation mode right now.
Could also sacrifice the Skull Bomb, put some counters on that Mantis, or perhaps even the Centurion, right? You can put it on the Centurion and get a blocker out of the way this turn.
Yeah.
Given that Michael is down to 9.
Yeah, he's only got 3 creatures that can currently block.
So make that down to 2. 2 biggest creatures get blocked. You could still potentially get in for 2. You could play the Batter Fist, equip, get in for 3.
Yeah, don't forget you can play the Batter Fist and just throw it onto something. It only costs 1 to equip. Every point of damage is going to matter here. That's why you see Nassif really taking his time with this turn. He's trying to figure out how he can shut the door on this game as quickly as possible. He does not want to see Bone Picker Scourges start getting active,
right?
Blocking, trading, gaining some life, you know, and all of a sudden a removal spell can stabilize for Michael.
Yeah, just going, where do these counters go?
He's going to put him on the Mantis, but since an artifact went to the
it does trigger the Centurion.
Triggers as well.
So can do both of the things. If you can find a good, nice way to interact at instant speed, I think that'll basically shut the door.
Yeah, and he does get to draw a card, of course, off the Skull Bomb. Right. So. All right, well, he can play the adaptive here and then play the Batter Fist to get triggers. So he will not be able to kill Michael this turn, but he is setting up for a really good turn this turn and a really, really, really good turn next turn.
Right, yeah. Wondering if he's going to...
Is there an equip that would make sense? Like, could he get extra damage in if he uses the Cultivator to untap a land and then throw the Batter Fist on something?
Yeah, I don't know.
Or does it not matter?
Yeah, for me, I'm just thinking, is it worth it to just use this Lattice Blade Mantis to trade with the Hive Master plus the Gladiator, because that's likely the block that you're going to see,
I think so.
right?
Like, I think if
Because
I knew that I was getting that block, I would say, okay.
Because you get those two off the battlefield, then all of a sudden your Centurion just takes the last thing out of the way, and you can get in for everything.
That's right. And it's making it nearly impossible for Michael to get the corrupted going that he needs for the Bone Picker Scourge. And he did end up...
Okay, so we're just getting in with everything
Quickly.
here. And then make it so that the Hive Master, I suppose. You definitely don't want to target the Scourge. You want Michael to block with the Scourge, because you don't want the Corrupted to turn that into a Death Touch lifelink creature. So just choosing between the Hive Master and the Gladiator here.
I guess since the Hive Master leaves something behind,
Yep.
you would choose it. It also has 3 power versus 2, which might be relevant.
Yeah, any double block would still kill the Mantis, regardless of which creatures he chose.
Right.
But Michael might just choose to put a creature in front of the Centurion at the very least, just because it can be problematic. Maybe can just afford to take... I mean, that would still be 7 damage coming from the other sources here. Could choose to also put the Scourge in front of the Cultivator, just block both things, and then he's just down to a Scourge here. Excuse me, not a Scourge, a Hive Master.
Yeah, this is tough.
It's a lot.
Also, he's taking 5. He's only at 9.
Yeah, gonna go down to 4.
And Nassif says, this is how you blocked? Okay, let's do that. So well planned out there from Nassif. That was an important combat step, likely the one that will win him this game and keep him in the match. Remember, he needs to win this game and the next to try to win the match for Michael, because Michael poisoned him out in game number 1.
Yeah. What do you want if you're Michael? I guess a removal spell if you have a way to kill the Mantis. That would be
I
ideal.
think I want 2 planes and a White Sun's Twilight. Can I get
Okay, I don't think we
all
can
of that
make that happen. So
that would be really
given
good.
that,
Yeah, I don't know that he has.
so this Mantis is going to get chump. Is this? I mean, this is a lethal attack. If you move the Batter Fist onto the Rebel or the Adaptive, whichever one. No, excuse me. Then if you move it to the Rebel, then the Adaptive and the 1/1 would get through, because there's 2 blockers, and that would be 3 damage.
Okay.
So
But it would leave Michael with no board.
Right. Now, if you can play a creature here to grow the Adaptive, then you move the Batter Fist onto the Rebel, and then that would be a lethal attack.
Then you have enough so that any creature is at least 2 damage and 2 of them are getting through.
Right, because the smallest creature in play is the Goblin, so that's 1 damage. The next smallest creature is a 3 power creature, which would add up to 4.
Okay. He has not cast a creature, however, so this is going to be a non-lethal attack, though how in the world is Michael supposed to get out of this?
Exactly.
Mess, right? Like,
Exactly. So Nassif just running through everything here. The 3 power creature and the Mantis have to be blocked.
Yes.
If Michael has nothing else. So just attack with everything. The creatures will trade. The Mantis will still be on the board.
That's right.
Right. So
and
now
we'll have an oil.
So now we're going to have Michael down to 1, and Nassif's going to have a Mantis, a 2/2 Evolving Adaptive, and a token in play against 2 mites.
Yep. So Michael, with his 3 remaining mana, needs to have some way to interact with this board realistically here. If he's going to try to make a comeback.
Yeah.
I mean, how many? He has 2 cards.
I think
in
he
hand?
just has 2 lands.
2 swamps in hand.
So
Okay.
this is basically the only option. Now, he did block with the Blightbelly Rat. That will proliferate. That will put Nassif on 3 poison. And if Michael maybe draws a Bone Picker Scourge, will that be enough because you have the lifelink? I'm not sure that it is.
He would be at 1/3, block the Mantis, and he would take 3, so it would be exactly dead.
lethal. And you can move the Batter Fist over onto the Evolving Adaptive.
Sure. -1. All right, he's down to 1. Has no blockers left over. He does have 2 creatures with 2 mites. But yeah, it looks like the plan for Nassif has worked for him. He simply overwhelmed Michael with power and toughness, right?
Yeah.
And that's what this green-red deck is about, and that's what he's done. The haste didn't hurt either. And he's going to scoop him up. So that is game number 2 going to Gabriel Nassif to even it up. Michael had a much better draw in game 1, especially given the matchup. And in game 2, we got to see, you know, some of his less powerful options.
Yeah.
And as a result, Nassif was able to use his mana, curve out, and kill him. All right, he's going to start things off once again with the Rustvine Cultivator. That worked really well for him.
Right off the top. Great draw there for Nassif.
Yes, clean living for Gabriel Nassif. We also saw he does have the Sword of Forge and Frontier in his hand. We haven't seen that yet. It is relevant in the matchup in that it gives a creature protection from red, even though that is Michael's very far secondary color.
Nice source of card advantage, of course, as well, if you can actually connect with it.
If you start connecting with it, it's like a snowball rolling down a hill.
And look at this. Michael knows that Nassif has a bunch of knows that he has a bunch of Chimney Rabbles in deck and wants to prevent Nassif from playing out that 4-drop on turn 3.
Love it. Anoint with Affliction on Rustvine Cultivator sends it packing. That's a Bone Picker Scourge. Oh, good. He has 2 different artworks of it in his deck. That one looks sweet, though.
Yeah.
Like, can you imagine being this Bone Picker Scourge on the left side of your screen and seeing one of those and being like, wait, what? That's what I'm supposed to look like? Here's land number 4. Awkwardly a little bit, perhaps, for Michael. Triple Mountain draw. You know, sometimes that prevents these nearly mono-black decks from double spelling. Let's see what he's got. It's not going to matter here, it looks like. He only has 1 black spell in hand. So lots of mountains, but also most of his red cards drawn.
And look at that, Awaken the Sleeper. Just as a way to maybe just close the game out, steal your biggest creature. Nassif might not see that one coming.
That's out of the board, isn't it?
Oh, and now we're going to see a Vraska's Fall in response, most likely, right? Because you want to cast that before that 1/1 enters the battlefield.
That's right. So the Furnace Punisher gets got, which is really nice.
Gets that first poison onto Nassif. Needs to find a way to get 2 more. The 1/1 can't attack. That would be ridiculous.
That would actually be like...
It's already really good.
Yeah. Yeah,
Just
so
4 mana, 4/4 haste.
taking the, trying to get this 1 poison into 3 could matter big time this game, and currently it doesn't look like Michael has a way to do so.
Yeah, the Awaken the Sleeper not doing a whole lot here. Rebel Salvo as a way to kill the Rabble. But that's basically it here, and he's just on this flyer.
Man, he has drawn so many mountains. He's only got 6 mountains in the deck. He has 4 on the battlefield and 1 in his hand. It doesn't seem to matter, though, because he's also drawn all of his red cards. So.
And Nassif's hand is very nice. I mean,
Whew.
all kinds of options here. Probably don't want to go ahead with the Sword of Forge and Frontier.
The Swordier.
The Sword of Frontier.
Yeah, usually you'll see people wait till turn 5, right? And they can go cast, equip, hit you.
Yeah, that is a nice time to do it. But when your opponent has 5 mana up and passes, pretty likely they have some way to interact with you. So it's probably best to just attack, see what they do, and then just, a lot of the times you just want to play another creature.
Yeah, and you know, with the options that Nassif has, right, in this particular spot, he can just play a Lattice Blade Mantis and still, I'm assuming he has a land drop. Yeah, then he has the Furnace Skull Bomb and the Hex Gold Slash that he can choose.
Exactly.
So really no pressure, and then he can just let the sword clean up the mess. And frankly, it's going to.
Right, and wonder if Michael's going to just fire off the salvo on the Rabble, or choose to wait and see if there's a bigger creature that Gabriel can play.
I think he just, yeah.
It's just the race.
I agree with this.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, this is the type of thing where you need to make this decision now.
Yeah.
I'm going to save it for something better. Okay, well, take 3, right? And then next turn, take another 3. You know, it's like, how long do you want to do this for? Because as we saw last time, it was a damage race.
Yeah. Then now, I mean, it's just going to be Mantis into probably Keep Up Slash.
Yeah. I'm curious. I'm actually really curious about that. Yeah, and he does. Because, you know, Nassif could also say, well, You didn't play anything last turn. Like, what am I so scared of? I'll just use my mana efficiently and play this Skull Bomb.
Right.
But this is a much safer way to go.
Yeah, I mean, the thing that you really want to be saving that slash for is probably just a Billia Skull Dweller,
Yeah,
right?
probably.
Because it's just that's the card that gets in the way of this Mantis, right?
Right. And you see that Nassif is not interested in killing a 2/2 flyer. He's not interested. So is this Hive Master enough of a target to earn the Hex Gold Slash? That Hex Gold Slash is absolutely amazing against Michael.
Yeah, and the thing is, it
doesn't block.
It's so nice to cast the slash now because Nassif doesn't have land number 6, so you can go slash into Sorge, equip, attack.
The Sorge again.
Right. All right, and that's what he's going with
and
here.
He can still play the Skull Bomb too if he's got that land. So there you go. Hex Gold Slash is going to take down the Stinging Hive Master. Are we going to see the sword now? Remember, also of note.
Whoa, okay.
If you look at the other side, there's only red mana available because he's got all these mountains. So Nassif's like green light, or in this case, green and red light. I don't know what you're supposed to do if there's a green and a red light, but that's what the Sword of Forge and Frontier is. And look at this. Here it comes into the red zone. And remember, the Might can't block.
And we are connecting here, so we're going to get some value here.
Also, half of the life total just evaporated. That was 16-8.
Big damage.
So exile the top 2 cards of your library. You may play those cards this turn. You may play an additional land.
And
he whiffed.
2 spells. All right, mill 2 card.
Yeah. Actually, they just get exiled.
Yeah, because oftentimes a lot of the red spells now are templated where you have like an extra turn window to cast it.
Yeah.
But now for the sword.
No, the sword's old school in many ways. But that flood of card advantage will start next turn, assuming that Nassif can continue to hit with this goblin that's wearing the sword.
Yeah. Can't steal the goblin.
Nope.
That's very sad.
He protected it. And, you know, this hasn't become a life total race, at least at this point where Awaken the Sleeper can affect it. He could take the Lattice Blade Mantis. He could use up the last oil counter, get in for 5. He would be getting in for 2 and an additional 1 there. So 8 damage. It would be a really nice hit, but then it's kind of like, well, then what's my plan?
Yeah.
How do you get the last 6 damage through?
I mean, you cast it, you attack, you remove the 1/1 counter.
Yeah, you do get.
You get an extra poison, right? You get an extra poison by doing it this turn, which gets you a little bit closer to getting Gabriel corrupted, which then allows your Scourge to trade with a creature with a sword on it. So maybe, and he's also got the Blightbelly Rat now, right? You can cast both, so you can also block with the rat. That would put the last poison counter.
And then 3 hits in the air with the Scourge, and it's an easy win.
Sure.
See, I got it all figured out. I would go for it though if I were Michael, right? Because this is the type of scenario where he's getting to the point where this is untenable, and he needs to just deploy the things he has, and he's going to have to kind of tap the top of the library.
And remember, Nassif has Hazardous Blast in hand, so. If the counter didn't get removed, that's a lethal attack next turn for 8.
Wow.
But now that you remove the counter, you're only getting in for 7, and Michael would be at 1 after that attack.
Okay, so there we go. Awaken the Sleeper is going to steal the Lattice Blade Mantis for the turn.
Yep.
It looks like Michael's deciding on if he needs to leave back the Bone Picker Scourge.
Well, he doesn't have Death Touch, though, right?
No.
Over lifelink side.
And he's got the rat as well, but he's still doing the math like, you know, do I need to
just
take
attack with everything,
here?
I think.
I think so, too. He's not going to, though.
Okay.
He's going to take the more conservative route.
What are you going to... Are you going to block with the... Okay. I guess maybe he potentially double block. Yeah. You could double block the goblin.
Sure.
So maybe that's what he's looking to do here.
Right. That's not what you want to hear.
Yeah,
Nassif
is 1 mana short, because he could go Furnace Skull Bomb, put counters on the Mantis, then cast Hazardous Blast for exactly lethal, but that requires 7 mana to pull off. So if he hit a land off that Sword of Forge, he would have been able to get that land, but yeah, just 1 short for now, but still in a decent spot here.
Yeah, the question is, does he just, you know, because getting a hit in with the sword he can enable that with Hazardous Blast, and that might just be worth it on its own.
Right.
You
Just
put your opponent
get you down to 1.
and look at 2 extra cards off the top of your library. How are you turning that down?
Yeah, and you get the might off the battlefield.
Sure. It feels so much worse than how he had it mapped out where it was just GG.
Yeah.
But I don't think you can turn down, you know, put you to 1, effectively draw 2 cards.
Right.
Because remember, he curves out to 4. Do it.
Let's look at some more cards here.
Does Michael
Is it
have
face up
any
right now?
cards in hand?
Oh,
No, he
yeah.
was just reading it. It's only 7, Nassif, but that is 7/8 of the way. It's probably worth it. Oh, looks like he's going to go for it.
Okay.
There's a Hazardous Blast. It is not lethal. You see Michael check life totals, and it will not finish him off, but it is going to put him in an incredibly bad situation here.
Get you down to 1. Or perhaps just the goblin and keep...
Yeah, you know, he's thinking about potential haste creatures that could come out of nowhere.
Or also just maybe blocking the rat so that you don't go to 3 poison.
Mm-hmm. But he ultimately decides, I'm going to put you to 1. And let's see if he finds anything he can cast, because he did have to tap 4 lands here to get this attack through.
So he found a land. Remember, you have an extra land drop here with the sword. So you can play the forest in hand and go Furnace Skullbomb, cycle it, and put 2 counters onto the Mantis.
What was the other card that he revealed?
A Blazing Crescendo, but that's...
I guess he's just going to cast it because he has a
Oh, sure, just to get a little bit of extra value. That's also fine.
Although
and now that's a chimney.
The land, though, right?
He could have, and now that's a Chimney Rabble that he can play next turn. So a lot that Michael needs to deal with here.
Can Michael kill him? That's the question.
I don't know.
You know, Furnace Strider, I don't think he's got one.
Does he have a haste creature? Did he have a Chimney Rabble? Nope.
No, he doesn't have anything, and he's going to extend the hand, and the Hall of Famer, Gabriel Nassif's going to pick up the victory here, improve his record to 8-1. Let's just say he's happy that we're back at Paper Pro Tours again.
I
he
mean,
picked up right where he left off.
Right. Well, he's just been having a ton of success. I mean, he had a lot of success even when we moved back into the kind of the arena set championships, just because he's largely known as a constructed specialist, right? So when we went to these events where it was all constructed, he was killing it. And coming back into this tabletop event, it's just, okay, well, will he be able to crush a draft? He's 4-0 in limited so far.
You know what? I kind of think we cracked the code. You put magic cards in his hand, and he turns them
just wins.
into wins. That's Gabriel Nassif's game plan. All right, well, that's going to do it for our opening round coverage here of our draft on day 2, but we've got more magic to bring you. We're going to have Maria and Monty at the news desk right after this.